Ali, taking you through some of the things people are talking about and some of the stuff they're sharing around the world on Newsfeed today. The internet opens its heart to 9-year-old Quaden.
The winner is a movie from South Korea. What the hell was that all about?
Trump attempts to make his supporters hate South Korea and its films. Some fashion labels use London Fashion Week to prove how environmentally friendly their fashion is, but is anybody buying it? And the cleverest canine we've ever seen in Friday's Animals Doing Stuff. And top of our newsfeed, Quaden Bales, a child from Australia who has dwarfism. And at his school, the kids are really mean about it. So mean that his mum doesn't know what else to do. So she shot a video of him very upset, saying that he didn't want to live anymore. She put that video on Facebook and the internet saw it and took it from there. Take a look at this.
I didn't want to die right now. I didn't want to bang my head into a glove.
Quaden Bales is a 9-year-old boy from Brisbane, Australia. His mother, Yarika, posted this 6-minute video on her Facebook page this week after Quaden had been bullied at school. She says the bullying is a daily occurrence because of his condition. He has achondroplasia, the most common form of short-limbed dwarfism. The video has been viewed more than 14 million times since Tuesday, and people from all over the world have been sending their support on social media using the hashtag #WeStandWithQuaden.
I just want to let you know that we love you, we support you.
US comedian Brad Williams, who also lives with achondroplasia, started a fundraiser to send Quaden to Disneyland. It's already raised more than $200,000, 20 times his initial goal. And the Indigenous All-Stars Australian rules football team sent Quaden this offer.
We want you around, we want you to lead us out on the weekend, and it's going to mean more to us than it will to you, bud. So just make sure you're looking after yourself, and hopefully we're going to see you in the next couple of days. Yeah,
Aussie actor Hugh Jackman, best known for his role in the X-Men movies, sent out this special message.
Quaden, you are stronger than you know, mate. And no matter what, you've got a friend in me. So everyone, let's please be kind to each other. Bullying is not okay, period. Life is hard enough. So let's just remember, every person in front of us is facing some kind of battle. So let's just be kind.
Quaden's mum already runs a Facebook page asking people to stand tall for dwarfism. But if the bullies won't listen to her, maybe they'll listen to Wolverine.
All right, let's take a look at some of the other things that caught our eye on social media. Well, this was a vigil against racism in Hanau. People came out to show solidarity with those who've been affected by the terror attack in the city on Wednesday. 9 people died when a gunman who identified with the far right shot up 2 shisha bars before killing his mother and then himself.
The threat from right-wing extremism, anti-Semitism and racism is very high in Germany.
The President of the United States has opened another front in the culture war by feeding into his supporters' dislike of non-Americans. This time he did it by attacking the fact that Parasite won Best Picture at the 2020 Oscars.
By the way, how bad were the Academy Awards this year? Did you see it? And the winner is a movie from South Korea. What the hell was that all about? We got enough problems with South Korea with trade. On top of it, they give him the best movie of the year. Was it good? I don't know.
Well, the president's obvious ignorance was summed up by Neon, the film's US distributor, who wrote on Twitter saying, "Understandable, he can't read." A letter from a 10-year-old kid called Dara to the boss of Liverpool Football Club is being loved online right now. In the missive, Dara says he's a Man United fan and asks very kindly if Jurgen Klopp would mind not winning any more games, as their success is making him a fan of United, very sad. And Klopp responds saying he'd love to, but soz, I can't. It's his job to make sure Liverpool win. He also adds some advice for the young lad, saying, when you're 10, you think things will always be the same as they are. But guess what? Things change. He signs off, take care, and good luck. Things like this do make me love the internet. And for the BTS Army, 6 months of waiting are over. The Bangtan Boys are back with their new album, Map of the Soul, :7. Continuing their tradition of using punctuation in their album titles, you may remember their previous one was called Love Yourself, Tear. This is the new video for their song On. It has a feature from Sia, and as you'd imagine, the internet and our producer Betul are going crazy about it. It's had more than 11 million views. 1 million of those are Betul's. Now, the politics of Ireland are as interesting as they have been for decades. The recent elections didn't result in one outright winner and saw a huge surge in support for left-wing Sinn Féin, a party with historic ties to terrorists in the IRA. And now the Irish Prime Minister has resigned as the country tries to form some form of coalition government. So what better time for a history lesson as to why what is happening in Ireland right now is quite so momentous.
Ireland's elections are usually a head-to-head race between Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil, but this year a party with historic links to the Irish Republican Army surged in the vote counts: Sinn Féin. The Nationalist Party won the popular vote with promises to tackle the country's housing crisis and improve healthcare. The results made Sinn Féin a political power player for the first time since it won the general election back in 1918.
Our first preference is to form a new government without Fianna Fáil or Fine Gael.
And now, as then, it is calling for a united Ireland and wants a referendum on the issue by 2025. This demand has divided the island of Ireland for nearly a century and led to bloodshed. It started with a war of independence that the Irish Republican Army, or IRA, fought against the British from 1919 to 1921. A peace agreement led to the partition of Ireland. An Irish Free State, independent of the UK, was established in the south. Northern Ireland remained part of the UK. The Irish Free State declared itself as a republic in 1948. About 20 years later, the Troubles began. They were a conflict between the IRA and its proxies on one side and the British Army and loyalist paramilitaries in Northern Ireland on the other. More than 3,500 people were killed over the next 30 years. The Troubles ended with the Good Friday Agreement in 1998. The peace deal also largely meant the end of the IRA's violent campaign. Its political campaign, however, was carried on by Sinn Féin. The party has fiercely advocated Irish unity throughout its history. The issue is back at the center of political debate thanks to the earthquake of Brexit. The Republic of Ireland is a member of the EU, and during the 2016 Brexit referendum, Northern Ireland voted to stay in the bloc. But it is now divorced from Brussels along with the rest of the UK. One of the sticking points about Brexit is whether it will create a hard border on the island of Ireland. People and goods can now pass freely between Northern Ireland and the Republic, and people and politicians on both sides don't want that to change. They worry if it does, Ireland's bloody past will become part of its future. For Sinn Féin, its links with the IRA were seen as an impediment at the polls, but now it looks like it's all in the past.
I'm not a Sinn Féin person myself, but they've made strides, and they'll have to be more under scrutiny now because they're possibly going into government, which is no bad thing.
Sinn Féin's solution is a united Ireland, but to get a vote on the issue, it must show a majority of people in Northern Ireland would vote for unification. If it succeeds, Brexit will not only lead to Britain breaking up with the EU, but a breakup of the UK as well.
Okay, we'll keep spinning around the world now for some other stories you need to know this Friday. Well, these are some Ukrainian people holding a protest after a bus carrying people who were being quarantined after being evacuated from Wuhan passed through their town. A viral email containing lies about the bus said some of them on board had illnesses, and that spread through Ukraine, leading to these kinds of scenes. Despite being told the email was fake, people still behaved in this way, throwing stones and rocks at those on board. The lead detective investigating the murder of Australian woman Hannah Clark and her 3 children this week has been stood down. Hannah's estranged husband poured petrol on his entire family inside their car and set them alight before killing himself. A day later, the detective in charge, Mark Thompson, said that part of his investigation would look into whether the ex-husband was, quote, driven too far.
It was an officer trying to explain a process and then had a little bit too much to say about that. I apologise from the QPS to the victims or anyone that may have been offended and hurt by this.
China says a vaccine for COVID-19 coronavirus is coming. They're going to start trialling it in April. More than 2,000 people have been killed by the virus, mostly in China, but in several other countries as well. Most who have died were either old or already very sick. Now, London Fashion Week has just wrapped up for another year. Many of the people taking part were making all the right noises about saving the planet by reducing fashion's footprint. The British designer Anya Hindmarch made headlines for opting to stay off the catwalk and putting on a waste-related stunt at her stores. But is all this genuine environmentalism or clever marketing? Ezra took a look.
More and more brands are taking up their green credentials. British label Anya Hindmarch went viral this week for a stunt with plastic bottles.
So for Fashion Week this year, we're in fact not doing a show. We are instead closing our 3 flagship stores in London and filling them with 90,000 used water bottles, which is how many plastic bottles go into landfill every 6 minutes. The idea is to shock, but also to connect people to the enormity of the problem of single-use plastic.
The idea is also to promote her new range of bags, which are made from recycled plastic. Mulberry is pushing sustainability too. It says all profits from its new 100% sustainable leather bag will be donated to the World Land Trust. American brand Tommy Hilfiger says its latest collection is its most environmentally friendly to date. But will these gestures really make a difference?
If you are against fast fashion, raise your hand now, please.
Extinction Rebellion doesn't think so. The climate crisis protest movement held a demonstration calling for Fashion Week to be cancelled altogether because of the clothing industry's detrimental impact on the environment.
We are asking for deep systemic change. We're asking not for sustainability, but a complete reinvention of this industry in a way that regenerates the environment. And yeah, so we're calling for a cancellation between now and September, and for the British Fashion Council to gather their stakeholders and come up with an emergency action plan.
So how bad is the fashion industry? According to the UN, 2,000 gallons of water is needed to make 1 pair of jeans. The industry produces 20% of global wastewater, and every second, the equivalent of 1 garbage truck of textiles is dumped into landfills or burned. Oxfam says the carbon footprint of new clothes bought in the UK each month is greater than flying a plane around the world 900 times. The fashion industry is worth $1.5 trillion to the global economy every year. So change could be slow in coming, but many welcome these green initiatives. It's now on consumers to learn the difference between real change and marketing stunts.
And last up today, we have an animal doing something, and what this one is doing is being very, very smart. Now, meet Whiskey. She is a border collie, and she lives with her human in Norway. She knows the names of all of her 90 toys, apparently. Animal behaviour researchers tested her by asking her to go and get, say, the giraffe, or the weight thing, the red weight thing, and off she trots and brings it back. It's quite brilliant. And according to researchers, she never ever gets bored of this game. The only way to stop her doing this is to take her outdoors, where I guess they play fetch. And that will do from the Newsfeed team. Do reach out to me with your questions, comments, complaints and suggestions. You'll find me at Kamali Melbourne. You'll find us 24/7 on YouTube. See you again tomorrow.